At the end of the year, we like to look back at the year that was. And when you think of American politics in 2020, it was defined by one word: Trump. Whether it was ignoring the threat of COVID-19, deepening the divide over race, or simply refusing to accept that election loss, the U.S. president dominated headlines. That's why American politics is number 6 on our top 10 stories of 2020. CTV's Washington bureau chief, Joy Melvin, has more.
Of all the images that speak to the kind of year 2020 turned out to be for Donald Trump, this is the most telling. It all came down to Americans voting and Trump losing, even if he saw it differently.
Frankly, we did win this election.
Trump was wrong on that, but his battle to stay in office was almost enough to forget the rest of Trump's tumultuous 12 months.
He's been impeached forever. They can never erase that.
Impeached by congressional Democrats, Trump began 2020 acquitted by Republicans in the U.S. Senate.
I've done things wrong in my life, I will admit, but this is what the end result is.
Making his case for a second term, his re-election looked like a cakewalk. Then the COVID crisis changed everything. From his handling of the deadly pandemic, at times ridiculed for his take on how COVID could be defeated.
Right, and then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that by injection?
Months later, Trump caught COVID himself, and as deaths mounted, another crisis exploded. The death of George Floyd sparked a reckoning on race in this country. Using federal forces to clear protesters near the White House in what amounted to a photo op, Trump tried to portray himself as the law and order president in an election that would turn on one question: what do voters think of Donald Trump? Accepting the Republican nomination before a mostly mask-free crowd at the White House,
the best is yet to come.
Contrast that to a mostly mask-wearing Joe Biden who offered an antidote to Trump.
That's what's at stake in this election, the soul of America.
Slammed by Trump at his rage-filled rallies,
Biden has handed control to the socialists, Marxists, and far-left lunatics.
Biden's lead in the polls was large and steady, but Trump had beaten the odds before.
This is a left-wing problem. This is radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Their first presidential debate turned into an ugly brawl, along with this stunner from the president.
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
A Trump shout-out to a far-right extremist group, even as Americans wondered what to make of it. The death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg put the politics of the Supreme Court on the ballot.
I, Amy Coney Barrett, do solemnly swear.
Cementing conservatives on the bench. Barnstorming the country, Trump's message to Americans: the worst of the pandemic was over, just trust him. In the end, a majority of Americans did not, ushering in the new presidency. In a nation that is still deeply divided, with an outgoing president challenging reporters who ask, when will he concede?
I'm the president of the United States. Don't ever talk to the president that way.
Leaving just one question for Donald Trump as 2020 ends: what will he do next? Joy Melvin, CTV News, Washington.